Hi, it's Nick with the Run Testers, and this is our first run review of the Nike Pegasus 38. So, last year's update to the Pegasus was a fairly big one. This year, it's fair to say Nike's gone with a fairly small update. All the changes you're going to find on the shoe compared to the Pegasus 37 are really found in the upper. Nike has generally made it a little bit more kind of comfortable, plush, padded, and they've built it on a different last, which they say gives you more room around the toe box. There's also a newly designed kind of midfoot lacing system here, again designed for a kind of more comfortable fit around the midfoot, more secure fit, and not a lot has been mentioned particularly about the heel, but I have found that you get a slightly more secure kind of hold around the heel on the run as well. The tongue is much kind of more cushioned and padded. There's generally just a little bit more cushioning in general on the shoe when it comes to the upper, as well as being more padded. The tongue is a bit more separated on the shoe compared to the Pegasus 37, where it was gusseted. A little bit of tongue news there for big tongue fans. That's actually contributed to an increase in weight. In my UK size 9, the Pegasus 38 weighs 310 grams, which is 10.9 ounces. The previous version of the shoe was 287 grams, and that itself was a slight weight increase on the Pegasus 36. It's got a 10mm drop from heel to toe like its predecessor, and the stack is kind of 27.5mm at the heel. What hasn't changed in the shoe is kind of the big stack of React foam you're getting in the midsole here. That was the kind of key change to the Pegasus 37. Nike's React foam is kind of, it's a really nice, durable, slightly kind of bouncy foam that delivers, quite a nice natural ride, while having a little bit of the kind of, bounce and softness of these kind of more modern super foams you see elsewhere. There's also a Zoom Air unit under the forefoot, which is kind of the Pegasus has got a signature bit of tech for a long time now. That creates a slightly firmer feel, a bit more push to your toe off there. And then the outsole the same too, which is quite a lot of rubber on this outsole basically. I think it's great for durability, it's good for grip on kind of light trails, and actually it creates a reasonably nice feel on the run, having what almost amount to quite small lugs on some parts of this outsole. So yeah, all in all, it's a fairly similar shoe to the previous Pegasus. Like, there are some upper updates here. I don't think it's a massive change. You might want to look for the previous one in sales, but obviously we'll give you a whole lot more information on that in our full review. All four of the run testers do have the Pegasus 38 for reviewing, but for this first run, it's just going to be me and Kieran giving you our kind of initial impressions when out on the run.
So I just took my Peg 38 out of the box about 10 minutes ago. I've put them on, and that kind of step in comfort, they are sort of plush. There's lots of cushioning, padding going on around. Initially sort of walking in, they feel soft underfoot, but as ever, that proof is in the run, and I'm about to go and do an hour-long first run test with the Peg 38. So let's take it for a spin, and I'll tell you what I thought after that. Okay, so I've just put in 9 miles in the Peg 38, and my initial reactions for the first sort of half of that, I felt it took a long time for my feet to settle down. There's something about this kind of the soft React foam that I find a little bit too soft. It almost sort of numbed my feet for those first sort of 4 or 5 miles. I did it at a very sort of slow clip, so I was running very low heart rate, sort of 125, so that's a sort of 9-minute mile for me, or something very slow. I actually found in the second half of that run, when I picked up the pace a little bit more, that the shoes felt better underfoot. They responded a little bit better. I'm going to say that for me, actually, these kind of cushion shoes, I often find they sort of make my feet feel a bit lazy. I feel like I'm sinking a little bit too much in them. So often these shoes I don't think are necessarily the shoes that I would pick first. We've said that the rest of the shoe, it's very comfortable. It's a super kind of plush ride. You're getting lots of padding, lots of sort of protection and comfort around there. It's they're very, very comfy around the foot. The toe box is nice and wide. There's a length in the shoe. Even though I'm running true to size here in a UK 8.5, but where I normally run in, there's a bit of extra room in length, and there's plenty of wiggle room in terms of the kind of width of that toe box, which is something that Nike has obviously said they've changed. And you do notice that, I think. Can still get a very nice lockdown fit. The rest of the time I had no slipping, no movement. I couldn't quite work out whether it was my socks or whether it was the shoes, but I did find them very hot. It's quite a warm day here, I'm wearing some socks I wouldn't normally wear. I don't normally get sort of big hot feet. I've never really been one to sort of comment on that, but in these shoes I did find that. And for those first miles, I actually sort of felt like there was potential kind of heat friction, but I do think it might be that I've put on some new socks rather than the shoes because they settled down later into the run. And so the miles that I did are a bit of a mix of, I did a bit on tarmac, and I did it also a little bit on these kind of light trails that you can kind of see behind me here, which is some of my usual kind of territory here along the Thames path, which is a beautiful place. When it's a day like this and the sun's out, people are rowing on the river, it's a magic place to run. One thing I will say about these shoes, fresh out the box, I think if I didn't have to, I'm about to go and pick up my son from school, so I run right past his school, but I think I would happily push on and do a half marathon in these. The other 4 miles will be easy. I have enjoyed the second half of this run. As I've run into the shoe, I feel like they've just become a shoe that for sort of plodding along, no particular purpose, they seem to be pretty solid. Overall, I think, you know, my take on this of the first run is that this is a very sort of good sort of standard plodding shoe. If you want to go out and do some sort of slow miles, easy miles, this will do them nicely. It was okay when I sort of picked up the pace, so you know, if you're doing a run that's sort of just slightly faster than kind of recovery, then maybe it'll work. I wouldn't pick these to go out and do anything particularly fast. I just feel like they take too much out of my legs. I feel like you're dropping too far down into that foam again. That's just my preference. I much prefer a firmer shoe. These run soft to me. My initial response to that. I have enjoyed running in them, particularly the second half when I clipped up the pace a bit. And yeah, all round, I would say this is probably, you know, like a solid Pegasus model of shoe here. So yeah, I mean, I know this is something that people look for. They sort of like to run on sort of pillows. If you're looking for that kind of feel, this is what you'll get here. This is sort of, I guess, putting a layer between you and the ground for sure. You know, you don't feel lumps and bumps. It's definitely kind of softening that impact of when your foot hits the ground. I just feel like there's not quite as much kind of propulsion as I would like in a shoe when you then go to kind of toe off, particularly at those sort of slower pace. So I feel like it's almost sort of dragging me down a little bit. I did say that as well about the Pumas recently, and it's something that I know some people like. I don't particularly like that in a shoe, but I think you do get that here as well.
So just off my first run in the Nike Pegasus 38. It's kind of a classic training run today for me. It's progression 10k, working from kind of easy to steady pace. I'll be kicking off somewhere around kind of 7-minute miling, 420, 430 per k, working my way down to around kind of 345 a k, 6-minute miling by the end. It's kind of pretty normal training run for me that I do in this kind of shoe all the time, so I'll be interested to see how it does. I expect it to have quite a similar ride to the Pegasus 37, which I was a big fan of. The fit is true to size for me in the new shoe. I think Nike kind of said there's a slightly roomier toe box in the 38 compared to the 37. I think maybe, haven't really noticed that. There's been obviously some changes to the upper. At the back, it feels more secure around the heel, I will say that. But yeah, it's true to size and the fit is good, comfortable, it seems good. Looking forward to running in it. Almost 6k in. It's been a very nice day. It's a bit windy. Ticking along at around 4k at the moment. Shoes feel good. They do feel like the Pegasus 37 to me. Actually, straight out of the box, the first couple of k, they felt a bit bouncier than I remember the Pegasus being the previous one. So that was a nice surprise. I was a big fan of the Pegasus 37 and I like this shoe a lot as well. It seems like it's got all the same kind of good characteristics. Nice, comfortable ride, but not so squishy that you lose any sense of the road or any sense of your pace. Going to do another k around this pace, and we'll pick it up a bit for the last 3 and see how that feels. So just back from first run in the Pegs. Yeah, enjoyed it. Today was a bit blustery, slightly harder work at times than I was really anticipating, but generally, yeah, the run was nice and smooth. The shoes are good and comfy. It's slightly more bounce than I remember to that React foam. It's not like a really bouncy shoe. It kind of differs to Nike's kind of other kind of trainer shoes. It's not as smooth as the Infinity. It's not kind of as soft as the Invincible. It's got a natural feel. You know, it's got enough firmness and kind of responsiveness in the forefoot to pick up the pace. Yeah, so I liked it. It's just it's a classic run for it today. It's a real kind of everyday base training run. It just eats up those. It's a nice shoe. It's not like outstanding within the world of workhorse trainers, but the fact that it is a lot cheaper than many of them, I think, does give it a good edge. And it is durable. Like, I put a lot of miles on the Peg 37s, and I haven't really done much to the outsole. And it still feels just as bouncy in the midsole. And kind of the outsole has always really gripped quite well for me on the light trails as well. So I think it's just a nice, comfortable, versatile daily trainer that's a bit cheaper than a lot of other options. Today I didn't notice a huge amount of difference in the upper compared to the previous version. We'll see if that comes into play over time. It's a nice upper, certainly feels roomy around the toe box. No problems with heel slippage, though I didn't really have that on the first one. I know some people did. It does feel a bit more secure on this shoe. But yeah, so far, early verdict, one run in, shoe feels the same to me. Nice, comfortable, good value. One thing I will say is a bit different for this Pegasus versus the Pegasus 37 is there's now the Puma Velocity Nitro out there for just under £100. A shoe I really love, and I still probably prefer after my first run in the Pegasus. So that will be something we'll dive into a bit more detail in the full review. But yeah, I really think that's a fantastic option around the kind of £100 mark where the Pegasus also sits. So guys, that is our first run review of the Nike Pegasus 38. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are you a big Pegasus fan? Have you moved away from it now to kind of slightly more exciting, perhaps, workhorse trainers? Yeah, like, subscribe, ring the little bell, and we will see you next time.